Well, now take a look at these things. Here we have a set of speakers. And for another video first, I'm actually out in the backyard on the patio shooting this particular video. Hello there everyone, uxwbill here once again. Today I'm going to talk about these particular speakers as an answer to a video request made by Weasel2HTM quite a long time ago. Now at first glance, these speakers really don't look too awful. They've got a nice tall cabinet and they look to be in fair condition, although you can very clearly see that they've been wet. But it doesn't take too long, especially when you turn around and look at the other side of them, to realize that they are well and truly nothing special, long before you've seen the notation on the front that says Soundesign. These were actually the speakers that were down in the Fortress of Amplitude. I wasn't using these for any kind of sound reproduction or anything like that. Instead, these were simply the speakers that I had turned around facing the wall because I'd never gotten rid of them. And I ended up stacking some of the various blinking lights and the neon dolphin with the splash on it and things like that. And you can see that in addition to having been wet and having been made by Soundesign, that these speakers are just in terrible shape. They need to go to the electronics recycler, and they need to go there very promptly. Because there is just nothing good about these. This large cabinet is so totally deceptive, as that is all the speaker driver there is. And the only thing that speaker driver has in its favor, other than somehow, amazingly, the foam surround isn't rotted on it, if that even... I'm not sure that is a foam surround, but it has a shiny cone, which has to count for something. But these can't possibly sound very good. I mean, listen to the amount of resonance in these cabinets. Well, that one's a little better than this one over here. Maybe the foam on the front of this one makes a little bit of difference. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm going to hook these up, give them a little demonstration, and we're going to have some fun with them. So stay tuned. Well, hello there everyone, and welcome to a mini episode of the Redneck Hour. The first in a little over 10 years, in fact. Do you ever notice that when you have a nice old car to drive, that the number of idiots on the road multiplies like, just by a small amount, like 10 to 100-fold? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly what you can do about that to reinforce the knowledge that you know how to drive and that these people don't. To do this, of course, you'll need a few different things, the first of which is a nice old car to drive. And then, you'll need some stereo speakers. Now, I have no idea where you can get these in your part of the world, but Furhead was doing some upgrades to the audio system in his heap, and he sold me these pretty darn cheap. Honestly, as small as that heap is, I have no idea how he actually drove the thing with these in there. Undercarriage, baby. Now, the first thing you got to do, you got to position the speakers to where the idiot on the road can actually hear what you're about to tell them, the wisdom that you're about to impart. And there's some debate as to how best you can do this, but I'm going to go ahead and stick these right on the back tailgate of this car because that seems like an easy place. And then you just have to run the wiring into the car where you can actually get at it later. Now, the next piece you need is a microphone. It doesn't have to be fancy, any old microphone can do. Just don't microwave it first. And then finally, you need the vehicle service manual. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Alright, let's get started with the hard part here, and that's the underhood wiring end of the project. All you have to really do to make this work is figure out where in the car the audio system is wired in, so that you can tap it for your speakers and your microphone. Now, I hear that this isn't too hard to do in older cars where there are a lot fewer wires. Newer cars have got a lot more wires, so you could be doing this for quite a while. Therefore, I recommend an armrest. And once you've got that, you're ready to get out your solder iron and start working. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, bad. Phew! God, that stinks. Okay, I think I got the fire put out, and now we got the speakers and microphone connected to the rest of the car's audio system. So let's go ahead and move into the interior. Oh man, phew! And there you have it, folks. Now you're ready to punish those who commit traffic infractions right there at the scene of the crime in no uncertain terms. All you have to do is just turn up your radio, click on your microphone, and tell them in no uncertain terms just what it is you thought of what they did. By the way, I suggest doing this in a fairly powerful car that can make fast getaways, because you really don't want somebody testing the limits of your Obamacare, now do you? I didn't think so. Heck, in this day and age of multitasking, you can even be making citizens arrest while you're texting. Well, would you look at that, folks? It's 6:30 p.m. and I gotta be going somewhere, so I'll see you later.
Hey, you nincompoop, learn how to drive.
No Chevrolet Caprice automobiles were harmed during the making of this particular video. Unfortunately, it appears that neither were any Soundesign speakers. They were just moderately annoyed and inconvenienced. Well, we'll see what has to be done about that later. For now, though, all kidding aside, I think I might as well hook these up to a stereo receiver and see how they happen to sound. I'm definitely on the verge of running out of daylight here, but the reason behind my doing this outside and not actually going indoors has to do with the fact that we're having some absolutely beautiful weather here today. It was a little bit muggy earlier on, but now the humidity seems to have dissipated and the temperature has dropped down and there's a nice gentle breeze in the air, so you really just can't beat it. Speaking of other things that you can't beat, this is a cute little Craig branded AM/FM/FM multiplex component stereo receiver. And despite this thing's rather pedestrian looks and its unquestionably rather pedestrian power output into those RCA phono style connectors, this is a very nice sounding and nice working little receiver. It has AM and FM tuners, as you would expect. It has a built-in FM antenna, a built-in AM antenna, phono inputs for magnetic and ceramic, tape input and tape output, and the most amazing thing is that it's actually equipped to drive a complete set of 4 speakers, so you can have front and rear speakers with this unit, which is really a nice touch. The only bad thing is that all those speakers have to be on at the same time, and of course this receiver has to be used because I just can't be bothered to hook up an adapter for the RCA plugs on these Soundesign speakers. But let's go ahead and give these things a try and see how they sound.
In the middle of a bunch of 14. A pleather jacket for $600? That's what you call a bad?
Oh boy, what is that? Almost sounded like I was driving these little speakers hard enough to get some of what V. Westlife refers to as accordion bass, or the effect that's produced when the poor little speaker driver down here, which Soundesign actually has the audacity to call a 5-inch driver, is almost to the point of bumping against its stops. Speaking of that exciting subject, I find this speaker response frequency curve very entertaining. I'm sure that it's not even remotely factually based. There's also a statement of interesting things on the back of the speaker, a description of what it is, the model number. Oh wow, they actually call that a 6.5-inch wide-range speaker. And they say that it is ported, which is true. They also say that this thing has a power handling capability of 5 watts RMS. I'd say that might be a bit of a stretch. A nominal impedance of 8 ohms, and amazingly enough, made in the US. Wow.
Last night.
Directly to Haiti to build homes, where for 3 years, families have still been living in 12 by 12 tarp homes with dirt floors. So this is the one.
Don't complain if you haven't put forth that effort. You feel what I'm saying?
Playing with my...
One.
Now that's impressive.
Starts now. 107.
Got a little crosstalk between stations there. Clearly it's using me as something of an antenna, but the station that it's receiving is about 50 miles from here. And that's impressive when you consider that this thing is using no more than the internal FM antenna that it has. Maybe a power cord antenna. I've not had this thing apart, though I definitely need to in order to clean the controls, though there will probably be a video about this thing in the future. And there you have a listening test for these Soundesign 731S speakers. I think it's time to take a look and see what's inside at least one of them. And there it is, folks, everything that's inside one of these enclosures. A hefty helping of air, a simple speaker driver, and just a simple wire leading it to the outside world. Now there is some kind of an identifying mark on the speaker driver itself, though I can't quite make it out at this angle. However, I can see that the speaker was made in Taiwan, and in a cheerful testament to its quality, I'm sure you can see how the leads going to the internal coil around the spider area are not even at the same level. I'm not saying they'd be perfectly level on any random speaker driver that you'd care to name, but I would imagine that this is pretty much the cheapest of the cheap. Still, it doesn't look too bad for what it is. I can see the identifying mark on it now, that's for sure. Doesn't happen to be anything I recognize. It just says Model 9 SB6F050. That's all there is to it, folks. Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to another mini episode of the Redneck Hour, the first in a little over 10 years, in fact. Have you ever noticed how the number of idiots on the road multiplies? Wow, multiplies? Oops. Oops! One of the speakers just bought the farm. Oh, man. Oh, gosh. It's 6:23. I'm late. I better get going. All right, I predict this will end badly. I'd call that a pretty scintillating success.